on the show tonight for two reasons. First of all, I want to say congratulations on the brand new album. I've had a chance to take a listen to it and I loved it. And we're also going to play Crushing Heaven's Mandate for the first time, your brand new single. So congratulations.
Sick. That's great news.
No problem, mate. So let's start off with the album. How did you guys go about working on this album with everything that's been going on over the last couple of years?
Same way we did with the other albums, really. The whole thing started in 2019 with this band, so there's never been a really a normal situation since we've got going. The first album was done like in about a week with me moving houses and doing nonsense like that. Second album was recorded like right in the teeth of coronavirus when that kicked off. So, it was much of a muchness. We work remotely. Like Matt writes all the album, like records all the riffs, gives it to Dave. Dave like listens to it once and then just puts the drums down. He's a bit of a freak. And then they give it to me, and I normally slow the show up, like by having to learn how to play Matt's riffs on bass and write some lyrics for it. And yeah, about 3 months later, boom, done. They're in Melbourne, I'm in Adelaide, so they're actually able to work from their own or sort of record from their own workplaces. And being over here, I just had the freedom to go into the studio and get vocals done. It was pretty easy.
Yeah. What's the secret, do you think you guys have, to have 3 albums come out since 2019? That's an absolutely amazing effort, especially when you consider how good these albums are as well.
Cheers, man. Look, a secret weapon called Matt, pretty much. If it was up to me, things would go slower. I've got my vices and addictions, Elden Ring at the moment, unfortunately, is gobbling a lot of my time on the PlayStation.
Yep.
So, but yeah, he's just got this, fairly Spartan lifestyle of just work, playing guitar, working out, drinking coffee, and writing albums. Whereas I'm trying to have a social life and balance my shift work with exercising and hobbies and interests and a life. Nah, he just gets up, sinks the coffee, writes albums. That's pretty much it. We're all kind of, the whole idea we did the band in the first place was to see what it was like to actually record an album really quickly and easily. These things can turn into some pretty stressy affairs where you're all just overthinking everything and reworking everything and trying to be super democratic about every note. And with this, we're kind of all staying in our wheelhouse and just, going blah, do it as quickly as possible. And that's just we've just kind of stayed that way.
Yeah. It was an unusual time to get a band together in the middle of a pandemic. Do you think, though, in a way it kind of helped you guys because it did give you that opportunity to sit down and concentrate on the music? Because, like you said, you want to have a social life and work and things like that. A lot of that was interrupted over the last couple of years. So did the pandemic actually help you guys in a way?
I reckon. I also like to think that we'd be crushing it whenever we popped up. But look, I think it helped us, and so I can sum it up in 3 words. Level playing field. We're not... When you're in the music business, you're competing with the big bands on the big tours, and they take up, all the bandwidth, really, with, the media cycle. It's about which big band is in town at the moment, who's on the support, and that eats up a good 60-70% of coverage. When no one can tour, it just comes down to who's put out an album and is it any good. So that's really helped us, I reckon.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit about this album. Did you guys have any goals as you went into this album, and what kind of things were inspiring you all when you sat down to work on it?
We don't do anything with this band with goals in mind, I've got to say, just except for get album done and maybe for a laugh see if we can get the next one done before this album's out. But as far as inspiration goes, not really. As I say, the guys just hammer it out with me sort of doing lyrics and stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't say inspiration, but what was going through my head is there's a bit of an end of the world sort of feeling going on at the moment. Not just the pandemic, but it seems like every tin pot dictatorship is making their play at the moment. And it's a little bit of a shock to see, how many friends who have, sort of grown up next to you, living and benefiting off, basic things such as democracy or a capitalist society are fully cheerleading for that to end. And so it just seems sometimes that I'm surrounded by fucking half-wits. And I just wanted to call out a lot of that and verbally abuse it, rate it, and really give it what for. I think we did that with the album. I think the most overt one is probably Crushing Heaven's Mandate, which is a direct call to the CCP.
So I'm the same as you. I read through social media at the moment, and I try not to because I just find myself getting angrier and angrier with what half-wits are saying on there. Do you think that kind of added to the aggression with this album because of all that frustration?
A bit, but look, I've been doing death metal for about 2 decades, and you just get in the habit of finding aggression or anger or fury or disgust, wherever you find it. I mean, go back, 10 or 15 years? I think one of my interviews back then was the same question. I was like, tap that fury. I just watched Big Brother. I put it on, and then I watched that crowd cheering for someone or who they're going to vote out, and what a great big fuss is made about it, and I just fucking lose it, and then sit down and write vicious lyrics about killing everyone. And so it's kind of pretty much the same as that, although maybe slightly more real or desperate these days. It's one thing to be ranting at the clouds and, a TV reality show. It's another thing to be ranting at, people basically calling, and supporting things such as espionage or good old-fashioned traitors.
Yep. You mentioned that Crushing Heaven's Mandate came from the CCP. Tell us a little bit about the track and what it's actually about and how that actually encouraged you to write the track.
Yeah. This will be the first time I think I've actually gone into any detail about it, in an interview or anywhere. So prepare for both our social credit scores to go to about -1 billion.
Yeah.
But Heaven's Mandate was, used to refer to the Chinese emperors, where they would rule by divine mandate, and people, courtesans and whatnot, would be able to pick various signs that they were favoured by heaven. And just as you could be favoured by heaven, you could also lose heaven's favour. And when you lost that, you also lost the right to rule. And of course, with death metal, there's good, long tradition of, crushing heaven or crushing heaven's whatever, or storming heaven's gate or crushing heaven and crushing this, that. So I thought it was a nice little bit of wordplay to say Crushing Heaven's Mandate, obviously, as a way of expressing CCP sentiment. But, on the other hand as well, just watching them, I'm kind of how's she going to get, voted in for a bloody third term? Well, apart from it not being a vote, I'm there's been rains, there's been shortage of grains, there's been the rest of the world getting pissed off at them, there's been a plague come from them, there's economic downturn, their bestest, no limits, friendship, that's in the fucking toilet now. I'm geez, how much more can go wrong over there?
Yeah.
So I'm I sense that his mandate of heaven to be Emperor of China is well and truly crushed, and here's a song about it.
Definitely. Well, we're going to take a listen to that track in just a moment, but the album is coming out on June 24th. What are you guys planning to do after that? Are you already working on the new album? Are you looking to do some shows? What are the plans after From the Cave to the Grave come out?
The answer to that is yes. Everything. So album 4 has already been recorded, although I need to do vocals for it. So that will be coming out. I think we've talked Prosthetic into basically putting out an album each year.
Yep.
I think we made a play earlier on to try and talk them into letting us do an album every 6 months, but they were like, look, no, the year is a bit more realistic from their point of view. So, yeah, another album will be coming out. But we are preparing at the moment to play shows. We're going live. We're going to start with Sydney. So we're playing a show, supporting Psycroptic up there. Let me see. And then it's going to be down to Melbourne to play a show with, Abramelin.
Awesome.
We've got another 2 shows in the works for Australia, but they're not at the announcing stage yet.
Yep.
But we're not forgetting the rest of the country. The idea is that we play live, we see how good it is or isn't, and based on how many fatalities and broken teeth there are at shows, we'll either just keep it, as 1 or 2 album launches for each album, or we'll expand it to national tours and festival slots and overseas shows.
Awesome. Well, mate, we cannot wait to see you guys live. But from right now, we are going to play the brand new track, Crushing Heaven's Mandate, right now. So what would you like to say to everybody out there before they take a listen to this amazing track for the first time?
I enjoy this track and come to our gigs, and if you're not bleeding by the second song in, we're going to drag you up on stage and beat you to death.